Hello and welcome to a new episode of 7 Facts. If you love geography or history, subscribe right now. I promise it'll be worth it. The canton of Appenzell Innerrhoden is one of the states that make up the Swiss Confederation. This is the country's smallest canton by population and the second smallest by area. 16,000 people live here, in an area that's a bit larger than Liechtenstein. Appenzell Innerrhoden's history has been marked by one major internal conflict, the Appenzell Wars. The wars were a successful uprising of cooperative groups, such as the farmers of Appenzell or the craftsmen of the city of St. Gallen, against the traditional medieval power structure represented by the House of Habsburg and the Prince-Abbot of the Abbey of St. Gall. The major issues were over grazing rights, taxes and tithes, and brought about a conflict that was on and off for almost 70 years, from 1360 to 1429. Following this conflict, Appenzell gained its independence from the abbey, but 1 century later, trouble knocked on the canton's door once more. This time, it was the movement started by Martin Luther that stirred things up. Preachers of the Protestant Reformation arrived in Appenzell in 1522, and pretty soon the canton was divided. By 1525, the Außerrhoden part converted to the Reformation, while the Innerrhoden part remained mainly Catholic. This is why today there are two Appenzell cantons, Außerrhoden and Innerrhoden. One major and surprising fact about Switzerland is that as recently as 28 years ago, some Swiss women had no right to vote. The canton of Appenzell Innerrhoden was in fact the last canton to grant women the right to vote in 1991. The first canton to grant voting rights to women was Vaud in 1959. Several other cantons followed in the next decades, and finally, in 1971, 66% of male voters across the nation agreed women should be allowed to vote in federal elections. But even with this referendum, not all cantons fell into line. Appenzell Innerrhoden was in the end forced to grant women the right to vote in 1990, when 2 women filed a lawsuit in the Swiss Federal Court and won. Centuries-old law forbidding women from voting was changed in 1991, when the country's federal court ordered the canton to grant women the right to vote. The capital of this small canton is the village of Appenzell. The village has a population of 6,000 and is the administrative center of the state. In 1071, the village was referred to as Abbacella. By 1223, this changed to abbatis cella, meaning the abbot's cell, referring to the abbot of the Abbey of St. Gall. This is actually where both cantons of Appenzell got their names from. You might think that a village as a capital is a bit weird and there's not much to see here. You'd be wrong. The buildings in the village core, the parish church and the town hall that was built in 1563, plus the ruins of Castle Clanks, are all listed as heritage sites of national significance. In other words, this place is magnificent to behold. Probably the best example of their loyalty to the customs of their ancestors is Appenzell's medieval voting procedure. There is basically no purer democracy in this world than the one you will meet here. The Landsgemeinden or Cantonal Assembly is a public, non-secret ballot voting system operating by majority rule, which constitutes one of the oldest forms of direct democracy. This institution is of immemorial antiquity and is the supreme legislative authority. Historically, the only proof of citizenship necessary for men to enter the voting area was to show their ceremonial sword or Swiss military sidearm. This gave proof that you were a free man allowed to bear arms and to vote. Every year, on the last Sunday in April, around 3,000 eligible voters gather together at the Landsgemeindeplatz in Appenzell's historic village square to vote on important cantonal matters. This tradition is held and respected since the 14th century, and Appenzell Innerrhoden is one of only 2 cantons that still hold the Landsgemeinde. Nowhere else in Switzerland is the change from the hilly landscape of central Switzerland to the craggy alpine scenery so abrupt or impressive as in the Alpstein area. Mighty rock formations up to 2,500 meters high tower up as if from nowhere. Deep, steep-sided valleys cut through this region, and in this epic scenery you'll find an epic restaurant, the Escher cliff. The 170-year-old restaurant is located in a spectacular cliffside setting in the Alpstein Massif. Unfortunately, at the time this video was made, the restaurant was closed, precisely because of its fame. Due to the large number of visitors, the infrastructure couldn't keep up and the owners had to close it. The restaurant is up for lease, so hopefully visitors will once again be welcomed soon. Right next to the Escher restaurant is the Weald cave system. The caves are located at a height of 1500 meters and are of great importance for human history. In these caves, traces of Neanderthal habitation were found, dating to 40,000 BC. Bones and tools of our evolutionary cousins were found in these caves, proving their presence in this region. The caves also functioned as a chapel and hermitage from 1658 to 1851, when the last hermit died. A beautiful landscape and a rich history. What more could you want? These were 7 facts about Appenzell Innerrhoden. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Leave your comments downstairs and don't forget there's a Patreon page where you can support this channel. I hope to see you next time. Bye.